Hi everyone, welcome to the Art of Action Figures. In this episode, we are going to be unboxing and getting some first impressions of the third form Frieza from Dragon Ball SH Figuarts. This is the fourth and last of Frieza's forms from Dragon Ball Z. He's of course gone on to have some new stuff, but as far as the Namek saga in Z, it's these four. And I'm also interested to see if any of the parts are compatible between second and third form, specifically the tail. I don't think that's going to work out just because of the size of second form Frieza. At a glance, it does appear that third form Frieza is scaled down in every respect. The arms, the feet, and probably the tail also. But we'll take a look at their alternate pieces side by side and just see if there's anything that can be mixed and matched. Get some height differences. I've got Saiyan Raised on Earth Goku to help set sort of a standard. And then just one by one, we will also take a look at the other forms of Frieza. So we have the first form. And fun fact about Frieza, his forms go backwards. So he's actually this form naturally. And each other form working backwards from the fourth form here, third, second, and first, is a sort of powered down version of Frieza. He says he's transformed in order to restrain his power. And then my favorite transformation for Frieza, and possibly my favorite Frieza figure, second form. This figure is just a tank and is really well built. Really nice solid joints all around. The design of these shoulders works pretty well compared to other forms with shoulder pads and other figures with shoulder pads. The tail's also pretty well engineered and sculpted for kind of handling multiple positions. So really like this second form Frieza. I would not be surprised if he is in many top 10 lists this year. Okay, and now the man of the hour, third form Frieza. Let's just take a look at the packaging first. We have our smaller Tamashii seal of quality here. This is a premium Bandai web exclusive simultaneous worldwide release. Contrast that with Beast Gohan, who shipped much earlier, like a month or more earlier, from Japanese retailers than premium Bandai. Third form Frieza came surprisingly quick. Spinning to the right hand side of the box, I like that they're keeping consistent purple accent colors for Frieza's boxes. They look all pretty nice arranged next to each other. We can see here he's got some kind of death beam finger effect. He has this happy face, severed tail. On the bottom, you see he has the crossed arm accessory and he's powered up. I think that is maybe the pose when he's transforming either in or out of this form. This pose right here. We have this just sort of monstrous cackling looking pose. He has quite a few happy faces. I think he just has like a happy face, a gritting teeth face, and an even more evil, happy shouting face. So this one, and then this one. And they're all pretty sadistic and happy, which I think is kind of characteristic of this form. Frieza got really weird for a minute. So let's go ahead and break open this box. So taking a look at the instructions here, which probably are going to come in handy because it looks like there are quite a few some assembly required parts to get this guy all together. I'm seeing this now and didn't realize, but does he come with an alternate head? His head is so big. Oh my goodness, if he comes with an alternate head, I know that's what they did for second form and first form Frieza, just to give him two alternate brow shapes, which seems pretty extra to begin with, but now they're doing it with third form, and his head is like 80% of his body. Okay, well, let's go ahead and slide him out and take a look. Okay, nice. Nothing falling out. We see that nice purple accent color throughout the box. Very, very nice. Fit for a king of space. Now, in the tray, oh my goodness, he does have an alternate head. Look at that. Okay, well, that must be for this head, or this face. You can see the brow is angled more than this one. So I guess that will have a more furrowed brow. Let's see what else he has. Crossed arms. He has, I believe, the final Namekian Dragon Ball. Correct me if I'm wrong on that, but I think there have been two sets. There was a set of 7 static Dragon Balls and then a set of 7 glowing Dragon Balls, and I think this is the last glowing Dragon Ball. I might be able to name all 14. Let's see. Frieza 1, Frieza 2, Frieza 3, Frieza 4, Ginyu, Raccoon, Jace, Berter, and Guldo, Krillin, Gohan, Bulma, Kid Gohan, and Zarbon and Dodoria. It's going to be interesting to see how he balances. It's quite a top-heavy design, so I don't have high hopes for him, but I am going to be a little bit more lenient given that that's the design they're working with. He doesn't have alternate feet like second form Frieza does. He does have 2 pointing 2-finger hands, which is good for when he's doing his attack. 2 open blasts, 2 grabbing, clenching hands. Spikes for his back. His tail only comes in the severed state, and that was one of the things I was curious about, is if his tail could swap with second form Frieza, because second form Frieza has both options, the complete and severed tail. I think it's going to be too big, though. Yeah. So he only ever appears with his tail severed in this form, I guess. But, you know, imagination could have adventures of full tail, third form Frieza. I honestly am pretty surprised they've even made this form of Frieza. I think P. Bandai is probably the only type of release that this could have been, and this is definitely the most challenging Frieza design and one of the strangest Dragon Ball figure designs, up there with like Dodoria, Imperfect Cell, Super Buu. Not your typical Goku 2.0 body, so we'll definitely be taking a look. Let's see. Let's go ahead and lift open the tray. Here he is. Okay, he has a little plastic protector under his abdomen there, or under his chest. And getting him out of the box, he's feeling pretty solid. It's not quite as heavy as I thought. I think the head, they've maybe reduced the weight of it a little bit. He has the same shoulder engineering as second form Frieza, so that's cool. You can see where his spikes will peg and his tail will peg. One of his spikes is already there. He has 2.0 style hips with the floating hip cap that becomes the butt flap. He also has what I would call like a 2.5 style butterfly joint. It's pretty much just the 2.0 forward hinge that can really get some reach, which is pretty cool. Not too many figures can do this. Of course, it looks a bit odd from this angle, but you know. Let's see. Yeah, let's go ahead and get his spikes and tail. Taking a look at these spikes, it's not entirely obvious, but this is angled a bit, so at first you might try putting it in like this, but it actually needs to go up like that. And it just pressure fits in. And then same on the left. That looks great. Okay. One of the problems I had with second form Frieza is his tail was very difficult to insert into the peg, but this one has been a little bit easier. I gotta say, it's kind of a strange sculpt. I don't really know how it's supposed to lay naturally, but you can see there he does have the end severed, same like second form Frieza's alternate severed tail piece. I'm not too sure actually how his tail sculpt should rest. Let's check it out. Okay, it looks like it kind of, if we check the box, they have it swooshing back towards his left foot and then towards his right, so you kind of have to angle it a little maybe. Let's try that out. Okay, so it's gonna kind of do like that. Okay. Now with his tail, I think it's going to be pretty hard to balance him without using it as a third leg. Yeah, his head is light compared to what I thought it was going to be. And it's because it's hollow. And you can tell that because, one, it has a seam going around the sides that is very well hidden. It's only there if you're looking for it. And then you can also tell because that sound only comes from a hollow part. And yeah, he looks great. Okay. Let's go ahead and get some size comparisons in here. There we go. And second form Frieza is one of their best figures. Absolutely. Okay. Third form. He's too short. And then here's Goku. So let's just have Goku go in the midst of all of them here. He does actually stand a bit taller than third form Frieza. Fourth form Frieza here is about the same size as first form Frieza, just a little bit taller. Now to take a look at the two most similar. Let's get first, fourth, and Goku out of the way here. You can see there's definitely some similar design elements here, but I think every single part has been uniquely created for each of these figures, or at the very least scaled versions. Now, I will say that the tail sculpt is not my favorite so far. It's a bit twisty. It feels like it has very specific kinks to it, I guess, that are a little bit hard to pose any other way. And it also doesn't make for the most supportive tripod situation. Let's check out his range of motion in his neck. It's pretty nice, honestly. It gets some good movement. There's a ball joint inside the head, and then there's another at the base of the neck, kind of standard. And if we swap his head, okay. It's struggle. There we go. Yeah, I definitely recommend you remove his face before trying to pop the head. But I'll show you here. This is the inside of his head. You could see there's just a hollow cavity in there. There is like some kind of support through the middle so that it holds its shape. Actually, let's show you this way. How's that? Yeah, so that's really nice. I'm glad they've made that a hollow piece. Now, the alternate head. Let's see how that pops on. Okay. Let's grab his maniacal laughing face. Oh, that's a very tight peg on that left side. All right. Frieza's second form is a very tall figure. Let's go ahead and try swapping his crossed arms. Hopefully have a better time than with Beast Gohan. I have some sort of little smudge on his arm right there. It's barely noticeable, but I did spot it when trying to see about these swapped arms, and I don't know if it's coming off. It should, but I don't know. Don't want to damage it, so I'm not going to push it. Okay, his standard arms are very easy to remove. Not too easy, but a good fit. And these also feel like a very good fit. Let's see how hard it is to reach them across. Oh, that is easy. I liked that one. Yeah, much easier than Beast Gohan. I didn't get this one all the way. There we go. And then that's good. Yeah, oh my goodness, that was night and day. Let's see. Yeah, so I was wondering if those would be swappable onto second form, but you can see the relative size of their arms there is not going to match at all, so. And same for the tail. You can see just how much bigger second form Frieza's tail is by comparison to third form. Okay, now I wanted to put his standard arms back on, as well as his standard head, and try the other faceplate. But man, I've got to say, this neck joint connecting to his head is way too tight. It's hard, it makes it both hard to remove the head to swap, and listen to this. Oh my goodness, it won't even turn. It's just, oh my gosh, no way. I'm not turning that again, it's gonna snap the peg. Yeah, his neck joint here, way too tight. Okay, can I just remove his face? Okay, and then to pull his head off, you really want to grab it under his brow, and I don't know, you kind of have to oh my gosh. Okay, so I've gone and added a little bit of shock oil to the neck ball joint, and I got it to consistently move, so that's good. And it is just a little bit easier to swap these alternate heads, and I'll show you what the difference is here. Notice the angle of that brow ridge. It's just a little bit steeper on this one. You can especially tell if you look at the point where the brows meet. You can also distinguish because they've coated these pegs, so they will only go on one head or the other. So I can't actually put this head on, or this face on the wrong head. All right. Let's go ahead and swap on the third and final alternate face here. We have this grimacing, cackling. He's cackling in all of these faces. Let's see, with that silicone oil, this should be a bit easier to pop on and off now. That's good. Yeah. Definitely something you want to have in your toolbox if you're a collector of figures like this. It just... Oh, you know what? The cackling grimace face is designed for the other head, so we're going to swap back to the alternate head. Okay, now final faceplate plugs in no problem. Let's give him some evil cackling hands. Okay, that goes on no problem. Not the tightest fit on those hands. They're a little bit of a soft fit, but they do hold pretty well. He's got very good torso articulation for how unusually shaped it is. It's very... That rotation is nice. And it's good because you can't really get much rotation at the top joint. Very careful when grabbing this guy. That spike is pointy. You can see I've already started to just nick my finger because I will often grab a figure like this with one finger below their butt and one finger on their back and pop right onto that spike. So yeah, be careful when grabbing him. He is very sharp. Alright, let's get him in a good monster pose here. And for some reason, it makes me want to see what he would look like next to SH Monster Arts Alien Big Chap, aka the Xenomorph. So you can see, definitely cartoony proportions compared to what I think originally was just a guy in a suit. Another interesting thing to note while checking out the Xenomorph is his tail, which is almost built like a spine, where every couple of segments there's another ball joint, and so it's actually a very interesting design. It almost functions like a bendy wire tail, but if you push it too far you can accidentally pop ball joints like that, and they can be a little tricky to pop back together. So let's do this carefully here. There we go. But I find it doesn't tend to hold shapes very well. It wants to just... It's very strange. You can pose it any way you like almost. And then it kind of relaxes. And if you move it, it's just going to flop. So it's an interesting approach that could be done again. I'm not sure I love this hinge swivel at a couple locations designed for tails either. It just doesn't let you pose it fluidly enough. You can only put it in a couple positions where it looks like it's still following a sculpt. Otherwise you start to get kinks like that, and that doesn't look any good. So all right, last thing, let's go ahead and check out his death ball accessory. Okay, now, thank you, big chap. Taking a look at his death ball. I definitely remember that scene where he's using this move on Piccolo. I don't know if this is actually his death beam or if this is just like finger guns at this point, but he does have this pink and purplish translucent spike death ball, and it just plugs into his 2 pointing finger hand the way that the beam cannon for Beast Gohan should do, but does not. What a weird figure. And that looks pretty nice, I think. Yeah, I think this is gonna be a very cool looking figure. You know, I think my read on this figure is I don't think it would exist if second form Frieza didn't. If second form Frieza wasn't made, I'm not sure they would have gone for this one. But at the same time, coming out in the same year as second form Frieza, it does get overshadowed a little bit just because that figure is so fantastic. But this is really a good one too. Yeah, I think this is a very good figure in its own right. Once I've put a little bit of oil on his neck joint, I feel much better about it. It still squeaks like nobody's business. But I don't feel it's in danger of snapping. His torso could maybe use a little bit in that middle joint, and so the way I would probably want to apply that, let's see if I can actually look at it at all. I don't know if I can. The only way might be under here. Yeah. So I think I can fit my little syringe under his chest, and that ought to give me access to the ball joint in there that's a little bit squeaky. Okay, but let's go ahead and swap his original head back on. Much easier now. Battle damaged Piccolo. That's a figure that would be pretty nice, I think. I don't know if they'll get around to that one anytime soon, but his look when he fights Frieza on Namek, that's one of my favorite parts of the Namek arc, is that sort of survival battle with Frieza that everybody's in until Goku rejuvenates. There we go. Everybody is stalling for time. Yeah, this is phenomenal. I'm very happy to have this. It's like nothing else in the line. Let's see, he's got an open palm hand. I'll try that out real quick. He has 2 open palm hands, sorry. I'll just try one of the open palm hands here. Alright, and as we wrap things up, this is what it's all about for me. I just love being able to fill out the roster for these kind of peak moments in Dragon Ball Z especially. A lot of attention is rightfully dedicated to the big climactic battles, usually with Goku and the main villain, but those climactic battles would not be quite so climactic if it weren't for the tremendous amount of buildup and desperation that is accumulated by Goku's friends as they wait for him to recover. I think the Namek saga and the Frieza arc in particular does this extremely well. And you've got great moments like Krillin playing hide and seek, reminding us that he could damage Frieza if he wanted to aim his Destructo Disc, getting mortally wounded. We've got Gohan doing his classic Gohan rage boost a couple of times. First time is definitely the most memorable for me, when he calls Frieza an animal and kicks him in the face. You've got Piccolo showing up and getting a brief moment in the spotlight to shine as he's just fused with Nail and is able to hold his own against second form Frieza. Then Frieza kind of puts his hopes and dreams to rest by transforming into this monster third form. I think Piccolo originally had some speed advantage over second form Frieza, which let him outlast a little bit. But once Frieza transforms to third form, it's kind of game over for Piccolo. Gohan has another rage boost and does probably the coolest Masenko in the series. And of course, you've got Vegeta trying to Zenkai hack his way to Super Saiyan and taking a capital L from fourth form Frieza. Just great struggle and build up all around for all these characters. And all the while, Frieza is just becoming increasingly unhinged. I don't know what's going to happen as far as like best figure lists, but I have a feeling that second form is going to show up quite a bit more than third form. And this form is really only around for like an episode. He transforms to beat Piccolo, and Gohan hits him with a Masenko. He gets mad and transforms into his fourth form. So doesn't get to shine a whole lot, but it is definitely one of the creepiest villain designs that we get in early Dragon Ball, and I love the transition from second to third. Let's see, some notes on this little mini display here. I think that a battle-damaged Piccolo figure could be in order, and I think the really obvious omission from the Namek saga is any Namek Vegeta. There is no Namek Vegeta right now. There is only Saiyan Saga Vegeta and Android Saga and sort of Buu Saga. But either of his outfits, preferably the second from the Frieza arc, that dark blue with the solid white shoulder pads or shoulder straps, that was always my favorite look for Vegeta, and I wish it had stuck around longer. But the other look as well, with sort of the Saiyan armor but without the skirt pieces, could also be a nice one. So I don't think we're done with Namek figures yet, even though everyone seems to have accepted that we're moving on to Android Saga. I am not a big fan of working sequentially through the series. As far as Tamashi's release calendar, I wish they would jump around just a little bit. Maybe do a bit of both, a bit of linear progression through different arcs, but then also sprinkle some of the main characters from other arcs here and there, just to kind of plant some seeds for other things down the road. So yeah, I think this display is really coming together. I think this is where Piccolo would get battle damaged, is taking this attack from Frieza. But yeah, had third form, I think third form Frieza is going to be standing in the shadow of second form Frieza just a bit. It is a phenomenal figure. It's just not as impactful to the story as second form. And I think overall people will find this second form just sort of towering and imposing. Third form is definitely creepy and monstrous, and I think that there's room for that in the display as well. Second form is definitely the more popular, I think. Like I said, it's around longer. He has a bit more prolonged fight with Krillin, Gohan, Vegeta. Does he fight Vegeta in this form, or is this when Vegeta is basically like, we've lost, run away? He fights Piccolo, and that's one of the better fights. Piccolo always gets the best fights. And yeah, third form, it's really transitory. Like I said, I think he's in this form for maybe an episode's length, like the end of one episode and the beginning of another. But since they'd made second form, they'd already made first form, they'd already made fourth form, that only left one, and so I'm glad they said, you know what, we're going to go ahead and do all of them. So I think the Namek Saga group of figures really came together nicely. Like I said, just those couple omissions, like Nail, Dende, and obviously some Namek Vegeta, preferably the second Frieza arc costume, and some Frieza soldiers, Kui, Apul. I don't know. There's all kinds of Frieza soldiers that they could make. They could do Frieza soldier army builder packs. Just have like two kind of generic Frieza armor bodies with a bunch of different heads. I think that would be a really smart idea. You really don't get too many army builders in Dragon Ball. And so far, Figuarts has not taken advantage of any of them. You've got the Cybermen. Could have been an army builder. Frieza's army. Let's see. Cell Juniors. I really would love a Cell Junior army builder pack. That could be really cool. Do not bundle Cell Junior with Perfect Cell. I do not want 7 Perfect Cells. So usually I'm not a fan of multi-packs, but for army building, it makes sense as long as both figures in the multi-pack are to be army built. So I hope they do that in a sensible way. And I think with that, we'll sign off here. Thanks for joining me. I'll see you next time.